Bhavanamo Kevalamo Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanamo Kevalamo Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanamo Kevalamo Bhavanam Kevalam. परमपिता बाबा की जय, महासमुति बाबा की जय, तारक ब्रह्म बाबा की जय. Namaskar. Okay, so I told about myself, my spiritual journey, that I was initiated in 1967, and I was, studied in a small place when I was very, and when it came to high school, I moved to town, and I stayed. I have found a person. My family found a person who was a Margi, and there my family rented a, a place, to stay there. So I used to stay in the Margi family, and through that I came to Anand Marg. So it was 1967, and I had already talked to you about my initiation, my Diksha, my Guru Dakshina, uh, something about my personal contact, and some other things. Today I will talk something about some people who were related to me, and they were helpful in my spiritual journey. I used to visit them, I used to go there, and one of the person was, his name was A'ca'rya Brahmadeo. He was a family Acharya, and I will talk, some of the things related to him, uh, and in my future journey, he was a very helpful person. Anyway, first of all, I will tell about him that how did he got, how did he get initiation? It's a very interesting story about his life. Once he was traveling by train, and by profession, he was a contractor, but he was a very tough guy, very, very tough. And he looked, uh, kind of a frightening person. He has a very huge, big body, huge head, big mustache, you know. Uh, if you see his picture, you get frightened. Really, really. Looks. And he was a very, very tough person. He was very tough, you know. And he was involved in so many other things. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. So once he was traveling by train, what happened? Uh, that when they were somewhere in the middle of jungle, the train was passing through. Somehow train stopped. In India, whenever the train stops, people sometimes get down and try to see what is happening, what happened. So people started to get down, and they were thinking, what happened in the middle of nowhere? It was not a train station. What is the reason? There was no announcement, there was nothing. It just stopped, the train. And everybody, was waiting, sitting, and then somebody get down, and they saw something is moving. So people, they started to shout that, the train is just stopped by the ghost. It was so funny things. So people got scared. Nobody, wanted to do anything, you know. And it was in front of, something moving they saw in front of insect. This A'ca'rya Brahmadeo was traveling by train, as I told you. He was in the same train. So he got up also when he heard that, people are scared and the ghost is moving. But he was not afraid at all. So he just ran. And he said, there's no ghost. There was one person. And he said, he ran to him. He said, why did you stop the train? So the person said to him that I did not stop the train. Train stopped itself. I have no idea. I was just meditating there. I didn't do anything. I was just meditating. That's all. So he asked, is there power in meditation? He said, yes, sure, there is power. And he talked about the meditation, but he said, yes, meditation has a lot of power, but I don't have much power. But my guru has, lot of powers. I don't have much power. So anyway, he had this discussion, and train was still waiting there. It was not moving at all. And then he said, how to meet your guru? And he said, well, if you want to see my guru, you have to learn meditation, and then you can meet him. So finally, he got initiation, and this Acharya was very lean and thin. By profession, he was an engineer. His name was A'ca'rya Brahmadeo. A'ca'rya Brahmadeo. So anyway, he said, I wanted to see the guru. So he was taken for personal contact. And, he was not, he was, in his life, he was never afraid of anyone. And he was thinking he has a lot of power, a lot of strength in physical powers. He was never afraid of anything in his life. He was always thinking that he's the most powerful person on the planet. He's always, A'ca'rya Brahmadeo told me that he always had this. He had no fear at all in his life. So anyway, he went for personal contact with Baba. When he went for personal contact, and he did, he entered and he did Sastang Pranam, and he just remained there. And Baba had certain time for the personal contact, and people kept waiting that he will come out. And he was just crying and crying, and there was a lot of noise coming outside. So they waited and waited for that he will come out, but he didn't come out, and it was getting late. Baba has to go. He took so much time, and everybody was thinking Baba must have punished him very much heavily, So he still was crying. So there was so much, He didn't just stop crying, and it was getting late for Baba's. After PC, Baba has to go and have his lunch. So somehow one of in charge, who is responsible for Baba's personal assistant, slightly opened the door, which he's not supposed to do. And when he opened, he said, Baba said, he was just flat, this person, Brahmadeo, and he was just crying and crying. And Baba said, you see, I have to get out from here. This person is not getting up. And Baba came out. He didn't say anything to anybody. So there was a, what you call, Baba left, and Baba didn't say anything what happened there inside. So people were waiting and waiting and waiting for, Brahmadeo, A'ca'rya Brahmadeo, that will come out from there, but he didn't come out. And finally, people went there, he said, you get up, move from here. He had closed his eyes, he didn't get up. He said, no, I cannot get up, So he was just there, and finally, they pulled him out. Somehow he got up, and, and he said, what happened? Why you were crying? He said, that when he entered in the Baba's room, Baba was so huge, so big, so big. He said, I got afraid. I was so afraid to see him that he is going to eat me up. That's why he said, you know, that वो जो है हमको निगल जाए. Hindi was saying that he will eat me up, and that is why he was not getting up from there. And he said, "Did Baba beat you?" No, no, Baba didn't do anything to me. And he was just. I was so afraid of Baba. That is why I was not opening my eye. I kept my eyes closed. So from that, he said that from that very day, he surrendered to Baba, and that time he was, then he just gave up his work, and job, what he was doing, his contractor business things, and basically what he did that he got a place in a forest near Gun, near Anandasila, and that was in the middle of forest. I have been that place, and he made ashrams. Also, some of his land he's donated after becoming for master unit, and it was called Anandapit Master Unit. I had been to that place near Anandasila again, and the whole time, he was not an sannyasi, but most of the time, whenever he got time, he used to go here and there and do prachar. Even he didn't care so much his family. He was just doing prachar here and there, everywhere, and he did a lot of prachar, and he really took care one of our unit. He used to always come there, our place. So he told me this story that how did he, came to know Baba and how he got PC and how he changed his life, you know. So this is one thing about A'ca'rya Brahmadeo. The other story he told me about him was that, in his house, there was one snake. There was all forest and there was a snake, but this was not a harmful snake. So this snake used to move around his house, and so he didn't do anything to a snake. He used to go and in his house, here, there, on the bed, everywhere, and so there was no problem at all. So once his Acharya came to visit him, Acharya Bismohanji, he came to his place to visit him, and the snake went on his bed of Acharya Bismohanji, and he shouted, that there is a snake here. So when Brahmadev ji ran there, Acharya Brahmadev ran there, and he removed the snake, and he killed the snake. So after killing the snake, it was evening time. So what he did, he covered the snake with some basket, and he thought in the evening, in the morning he will throw the snake somewhere or burn it. That was his plannings. So he kept the snake, and covered with big basket. Well, he got up in the morning and he went to see his snake, dead snake, and he didn't find the snake. So he got worried, and that where did the snake disappear? After a long time, once he was visiting Jamalpur, and he was, Baba was in Tiger Grave, he was sitting there, and, he was also there, A'ca'rya Brahmadeo. Uh, so they were, Baba was there on the grave, and when a snake came there, so Baba said, people got a little bit scared. He said, just leave the snake, Baba asked, Brahmadevji to go and see the snake. So Brahmadevji, A'ca'rya Brahmadeo went to see the snake. And he said, do you remember about this snake? He said, Baba, it looks like the snake which used to stay in my place. Baba said, you are right. You killed the snake, right? And somehow a snake have, uh, uh, some kind of things that, if you don't kill properly, and if they get start to breathe or some things, they may become alive. That is why the system for a snake is either you have to burn it, or cut into pieces, then you throw it. A snake, just beat it, and you think it's dead. Sometimes a snake, you know, did not die in that way. So he, his Baba told him, this snake came here to make a complaint against you, you know. And then he said, this snake was a great sadhaka, he was a great, person, but due to some bad action, you know, he has to, you know, become a snake, and but he wanted to just, come here and tell me these things. And so the story goes like that. So there was several story. I wanted to just share this story with you all. And Brahmdev did lot of work in our area. He went around different part of the, different places. He used to know so much psychological warfare. It was just a mental thing. And he really did a great work in his, in that areas. He really did a lot of prachar. People used to come, and sometimes because he used to live, away from the city. As I told you, he had a ashram, and we used to go and spend. He had some farm, and some cows, some buffaloes he has, and there was this. Uh, some fruit trees. So it was very, and it was very, how to say, it was an ideal place for meditation. So people used to go and spend a lot of time there in his ashram centers. And we, Margi used to support to run his family. So I had to go. Sometime, he has donated some land, as I told you, and it was a tribal area. It was, the people were tribal in that part, native people. So they used to come, and he used to also, if people have different kind of difficulty, like a ghost and all kind of these things, we were afraid of things, and he will remove it, haunted by ghosts and this and that. That house itself, which he bought, was a Anglo-Indian house, and people were afraid. That was called a haunted house. And he got it very, very cheap, that place, because nobody wanted to leave. The stories goes that, there was this British woman, Anglo-Indian or British woman, died in the house. And there was rumor about that house that, sometimes they saw some kind of things moving. People were scared to go around there. So only the Margi, it was a really tantric place. And nearby there was a huge, big river, very big river. So also for the couple, and there was jungle. So It was really, interesting place. So whenever I was talking about that, whenever we had time, some of us we used to go and meditate that place. Sometime, you know, you need to get out from the normal routine and from the normal place, from the hustle and bustles of the city or place. Go to the isolated place, lonely place, and place where there is a nature. It's good for the meditation. That's what I learned. That was a very interesting place to go. And it was so quiet. It was in the middle of forest. It was so quiet. There was nothing. No. There was no house around anyway. There was nothing at all. There was all surrounded by the forest. There was one house was very far from there, and that's all. And there was a huge, big river. So, either we used to go in the river to meditate or that place. Anyway, I will talk some other times about the importance of that place. We lost that place. He moved, you know, from that place. And actually, again, after many years, I had come to know that he came and he brought the first Prodha Pramukh there. When I met Prodha Pramukh Dada and told about, he said, "Oh, I had been that place." Uh, you know, when he became a Prodha Pramukh, he went to that place and he was a bit active, and then he again, uh, 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 what is called Brahmadeva became active and then again become inactive. So that was the situation of that person. So anyway, I had a very, very wonderful time with him. And sometimes I was alone that place, and sometimes with some argue brothers, we stayed that place. Sometimes there was one of Dhuta, his name was Dada. Sumeshanand, you know more, he used to come there and take care of the master unit Ananda Pit. So, I had a lot of problem with, today with my computer. I don't know when I will come back again on live. It was wonderful to see you. I hope uh, enjoy stories of Baba. I will narrate my life. I had some experience there, and I will tell you someday about here. Okay. Namaskar. Bhavanam Kevalam Bhavanam Kevalam